Have you ever stumbled upon something that makes your blood run cold? I'm just a regular Joe, your average guy, and I recently moved into a new apartment. The place was nothing fancy, just a small one-bedroom in the city. It was old. You could feel it in the creaking floors and the smell of aged wood, but it was mine, and that's what mattered. After settling in, I began the process of making the space my own, and that's when I found it. Hidden away in a corner of my closet behind a loose panel was a box. It wasn't just any box, though. This was an old wooden box. The type that looks like it's hiding a century's worth of secrets within its time-worn walls. It was locked, and the lock was rusty, suggesting that it hadn't been opened for a long time. Something about that box drew me in, like an unseen force pulling me towards it. It was as if it was calling out to me, urging me to unravel its secrets. I tried to ignore it, but curiosity, as they say, is a powerful thing. I couldn't help but wonder what was inside. Was it old letters from a bygone era? Or perhaps it was something more sinister, like a memento of a dark past. You see, I'm not one for superstitions, but this box ... it had an aura about it, an unsettling vibe that was hard to shake off. My rational mind told me it was just an old box, but there was a part of me, a small voice in the back of my head whispering that it was more than just that. It was a Pandora's box, waiting to unleash its horrors upon the world. As days turned into nights, the box remained a constant in my thoughts. It was an enigma, an unsolved mystery that refused to leave me alone. And so I decided it was time to confront it, to face whatever lay inside. Little did I know this box wasn't just old. It was ancient, and it was about to turn my world upside down. Curiosity can be a dangerous thing. It's a lesson I've learned the hard way. You see, I had this box, an old worn-out thing. It was rusty, and it fought back every time I tried to pry it open. It was as if it was whispering to me, pleading to be left alone, to keep its secrets hidden. But the human mind, it's a stubborn thing, isn't it? It thrives on the unknown and revels when mysteries unfold. So, I persisted. I wrestled with it, my hands aching, my curiosity mounting. And then, with a final rebellious groan, the box gave way. It was like Pandora's box. Only instead of all the evils of the world, it held a cluster of old photographs and a tattered diary. The photographs were all of the same man, a tall, lanky figure with a stern face and piercing eyes. He didn't smile in any of the images. His gaze was constant, unchanging, and something about it was unsettling. It was as if he was staring right back at me through the worn-out paper and the passage of time. His cold, relentless gaze made my skin crawl. Then there was the diary. It was old, its pages yellowed and brittle, filled with entries written in a language I couldn't understand. It was like nothing I'd ever seen before, like it belonged to another time, another world entirely. I tried to decipher it, to make sense of the cryptic symbols, but it was in vain. Yet I couldn't shake the feeling that I was holding something important, something that held answers to what I didn't know. But the man in the photographs, his unsmiling face, his eerie gaze, it haunted me. It was like a puzzle, a riddle waiting to be solved. Something about those photographs, that man's gaze, it chilled me to the bone. And yet I couldn't look away. It was as if I was drawn to it, pulled into its mysterious, chilling depths. It was just the beginning, and I had no idea of the horrors that were about to unfold. That first night, I didn't sleep a wink. Wrapped in a blanket of unease, sleep refused to be my companion. My mind, it was a whirlwind of thoughts, and at the heart of it all was the man from the photographs. His eyes, cold as steel, haunted my waking moments, and even in the darkness of the night, I could feel his gaze on me. As I lay in bed, the silence of the night was punctuated by the ticking of the clock, each second that passed only adding to my apprehension. My eyes kept darting to the box I had left on the table, its contents carefully arranged. The photographs, those haunting images, were safely tucked inside, or so I thought. As the night wore on, dreams took hold. In the murky depths of my sleep, the man from the photographs came to life. He moved in the shadows, his face obscured, yet familiar. The dreams, they were unsettling, a grim dance of my fears and the reality I had stumbled upon. When dawn painted the sky in hues of pink and orange, I woke up in a cold sweat. The dreams had left me rattled, but the sight that greeted me was even more unnerving. The photographs, they were scattered around my room. Some were on the floor, others on my bed, and a few even on my nightstand. The man from the photograph seemed to be everywhere, his cold gaze following me around the room. I was sure I had left the photographs securely in the box. I had made sure of it, but here they were, scattered around as if someone or something had been rifling through them. A shiver ran down my spine as I picked up a photograph from the floor, the man's eyes staring back at me. I was alone in my apartment, but I didn't feel alone. Not anymore. The reality of the situation washed over me, a chilling wave of fear and uncertainty. The man from the photographs, he was no longer confined to a box. He was here, with me in my apartment, and suddenly the silence of my apartment felt more oppressive than ever. I had to know more about this man, about this diary. The curiosity was gnawing at me like a dog with a bone. The scribbles, the cryptic language, it was all a puzzle waiting to be solved. I decided to buckle down and attempt to translate the diary. It wasn't an easy task, not by a long shot. The handwriting was scrawled, almost frantic, and I quickly realized it was written in an old dialect of German. I'm not a linguist, but I had a hunch and a couple of translation apps to back me up. Slowly, painstakingly, I began to decipher the text. It was like peeling back layers of a mystery, revealing a story that was as intriguing as it was unsettling. The entries were cryptic, filled with references to a dark presence the man couldn't escape. He wrote about it with a sense of dread, a palpable fear that seeped through the pages and made my skin prickle. The diary spoke of nights filled with terror, of a shadow that never left him. The man described it as a relentless pursuer, a silent stalker that lurked in the corners of his vision. It was always there, he wrote, a constant oppressive force that filled his dreams with nightmares and his days with unease. There was a sense of desperation in his words, a plea for help that had gone unanswered. As I dug deeper into the diary, the entries became more frantic, the handwriting more illegible. It was as if the man was losing his grip on reality, his sanity slowly eroding under the weight of his fears. The dark presence was consuming him, enveloping him in its cold, suffocating grasp. As I closed the diary, my heart pounding in my chest, I couldn't shake off a sense of unease. The room felt colder, the shadows deeper. I felt a shiver run down my spine. That dark presence, was it now in my apartment? I thought I could handle this. I was wrong. The sun had set and an eerie silence had taken over my house. Each tick of the clock echoed through the empty rooms, reminding me of the relentless passage of time. I was no longer alone. I could feel it. An invisible presence had made itself known. A chill ran through me, but it wasn't the cold of the night. It was something else, something supernatural. I could hear them, the whispers. They were faint at first, almost like a breeze through the leaves, but as the night wore on, they grew louder, more demanding. They filled the silence, echoing in my ears, haunting my mind. I could not understand them, but I knew they were not of this world. Every shadow seemed to move, every creak of the house made me jump. A paranoia had taken hold of me, a fear I had never known. I was a prisoner in my own home, a captive of my own curiosity. I knew then I had to get rid of it, the box, the photographs, the diary, all of it. It had to go. It was not some harmless game, not some silly ghost story. This was real, and it was terrifying.